All right. So before we get into the numbers on Guilford, I am down here in the center walking around. It is really great down here. I just wanted to bring to you some of the things that's happening in Guilford. One of the things being the Guilford is updating its 2025 to 2035 planning of its conservation and development. Residents are being asked for their help to guide the future development. And the Guilford Village West is a key proposed mixed use of residential and commercial that's going to be bringing in new activity to the area, which is great. Guilford is not just, going along with what's going on and being reactive. They're actually planning for their future development, and they're asking the citizens to be part of that, which I think is really great. That's awesome that they're just not hanging on for the ride. So to help you plan, let's get into the numbers of Guilford and see what's happening in your town.
All right. So now that we're back, let's get into the numbers of Guilford, Connecticut for April of 2026. And we got brand new data fresh off the MLS. And let's see what the spring market's doing. I think it's definitely a little bit different than what we're used to. So if you're a homeowner in Guilford wondering what your equity looks like, or if you're a buyer trying to navigate the competitive Shoreline market, this video is designed specifically for you. We're going to take a breakdown. We're going to look at a breakdown exactly what the numbers mean for median prices, inventory levels, even what's happening with mortgage rates. So you can take a smart strategic decision. If you're in the beginning process or even in the middle of it, these numbers, this data is going to be really helpful in your decision making and making a plan so you can keep the home buying process as stress-free as possible. And it usually isn't. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications because we bring these highly detailed town-specific market updates every single month. Let's dive into the numbers. Let's take a look. All right, let's start with the most important health indicator of any real estate market, the absorption rate. For April 2026, Guilford's single-family absorption rate came in at a blistering 32.6. Now, you're asking me, Dan, what the heck is an absorption rate? An absorption rate measures the percentage of activity inventory that sells in a given month. It's calculated by taking our 14 closed sales and dividing them by the 43 active listings on the market. In real estate, any absorption rate above 20% is considered a strong seller's market. At nearly 33%, Guilford isn't just a seller's market, it is a firmly entrenched in one. To back this up, look at the sale to list price ratio. Sellers in Guilford are commanding an average of 104.9% of their asking price. Even though the median price saw a slight year-over-year dip of 4.7, the underlying demand is incredibly strong. Sellers still hold almost all the cards. All right, so let's talk about prices because there is a very interesting tale of two metrics happening in Guilford right now. In April of 2026, the median sale price for a single-family home was $624,500, which is down 4.7% compared to April of last year. At a first glance, a buyer might think, great, prices are coming down, but don't write that offer just yet. If we look at the average sale price, it actually jumped up 6.3% to $776,869. Why the massive gap? This happens when high-end luxury Shoreline properties close in a single month, which pulls the average up while the median reflects the exact middle of the market. It tells us that actually property values aren't depreciating, rather the mix what sold in April is leaning slightly more towards the mid-tier homes. Meanwhile, on the condo side, the median price was $369,000. While that looks like an 82% drop year over year, that is a total statistical anomaly. In April of 2025, there was only one condo that sold in Guilford, and that was close to over $2 million. If we look at the year-to-date condo median price of $490,000, which is up 69% year over year, we get a much more accurate picture of the incredible appreciation in our attached home market. This brings us to a critical trend we are observing on the ground, the bifurcation market. This is not a market where you can just slap any price on a home and expect it to sell. As we saw, the average sale to list ratio is 104.9, but the premium is almost exclusively going to turnkey, move-in ready homes. Buyers today are highly sensitive to renovation costs and interest rates. Staged, beautifully presented, and correctly priced homes are triggering immediate bidding wars and closing well over asking. On the flip side, with deferred maintenance, outdated interiors, or overly ambitious pricing are sitting. I see this all the time. They're lingering on the market for 90 days or more, and they are facing price cuts. Not a lot of buyers out there who want to do the fixer-uppers. In fact, looking at a statewide data, 13.7% of active listings in Connecticut had to do a price drop in April. The lesson here is clear. Preparation, professional staging, and realistic initial pricing are what unlock the 104.9% premium. All right, let's do a quick deep dive into the condo and townhome segment because it is experiencing an absolute surge in activity. Closed sales exploded by plus 600% year over year, with 7 closed sales in this April compared to just 1 last year. Again, while the median price of $369,000 looks lower due to last year's luxury outlier, the demand is undeniably there. Condo sellers are receiving 103% of their asking price, meaning they are also enjoying the bidding action as well. So what's driving this? Affordability, plain and simple. With a single family median prices hovering around $620,000, many buyers, especially downsizers and first-time home buyers, are looking at condos as an attractive shoreline alternative. The good news for condo buyers is that inventory is actually building. New listings are up 150% to 10 units, and months of supply have climbed to 7.1 months. This segment is normalizing, offering more options for buyers while still maintaining solid pricing power for sellers. But while condo inventory is growing, the single-family inventory crisis in Guilford continues to squeeze the market. Right now, there are only 43 active single-family homes on the market as of this recording. That is down 17.3% from the 52 homes that were active last April. To make matters worse, new listings entering the market dropped another 5.9% to just 32. Our months of supply is sitting at a tight 2.2 months. Put that into perspective, a balanced real estate market where neither buyers nor sellers have an advantage requires about 5 to 6 months of inventory. This inventory drought is driven by what economists call the rate lock-in effect. Millions of homeowners are currently sitting on mortgages with rates under 4%. They look at today's rates and realize that they're selling their home, buying a new one would significantly increase their monthly payment, even if they downsized. So they stay put, keeping inventory at historic lows. So let's talk about those mortgage rates, because they are the ultimate driver of buyer purchasing power. Mortgage rates, when they are fixed, like the average 30-year fixed for April 2026 was around 6.33%, according to the Fred weekly data. We saw rates fluctuate at a tight band between 6.23 and 6.46 throughout the month. To understand what that means for your wallet, let's look at the math. If you purchase a median-priced Guilford home at $624,500 with a 20% down payment, your monthly principal and interest payment at 6.33% is going to be approximately $3,108. Now, that doesn't include taxes or insurance. Now, compare that rock bottom rate we saw back in 2021, which averaged around 2.65. For that exact same loan amount, your payment would have been just $2,006 a month. That is a difference of $1,102 every single month solely due to interest rates. This rate environment is clearly a hurdle, but the fact that the rates have stabilized in the low to mid sixes rather than spiking up over 7 has given buyers confidence to re-enter the market and compete again. So how fast is the market moving? Let's take a look. In April of 2026, the single-family homes in Guilford took an average of 36 days to sell. Now, if you look at the chart, that is technically a 111% increase from the incredibly fast 17 days we saw in April of 2025. But context is everything here. 17 days is an anomaly of extreme speed. In any normal real estate market, 36 days is still considered incredibly fast. Nationally, average days on market can easily range from 60 to 90 days. What this tells us is that while buyers are taking slightly more time to perform due diligence and inspect properties because of the high interest rates, the good homes are still moving really quickly. And look at the condos. The average days on market dropped from a massive 494-day outlier last year down to 35 days this April. The condo market has caught up to single-family homes in terms of pure speed. So when you're looking at days on market, because of the way our Connecticut coast is set up, you can have these outlier of huge dollar sales, which are going to skew the numbers. So this is why it's so important to have somebody sit down and explain what is exactly happening. You have to read between the lines. So let's wrap this up with some actionable real-world advice. What does this data actually mean for you? Well, if you're a seller, first, you got to price your home correctly from day one. Overpriced homes are facing immediate buyer resistance and price drops, and it's just not helping. Second, invest in presentation. Turnkey homes are the ones commanding that 104.9% sale to list premium. And third, list it now. With only 43 active single-family homes on the market, you have almost no competition. If you're a buyer, first, be prepared to act quickly and decisively. With the 36-day average days on market, the best homes do not wait. Second, get a pre-approval by a local reputable lender so your offer stands out. Third, look at the condo market. At the median of $369,000, it offers incredible shoreline value compared to the single-family homes. And finally, keep a close eye on the interest rates. Any dip below 6 is going to bring a massive wave of buyers back to the market. So buying now might help you beat that rush. Nobody has a crystal ball when it comes to the markets, but it is definitely something to keep an eye on. To sum all of it up, here are the 5 numbers that defined Guilford's real estate market in 2026, of April of 2026. First, 32.6% our absorption rate, keeping us firmly in a seller's market. Second, $624,500, the median single-family home price. Third, 104.9%, the average price sellers are going relative to their list price. Fourth, 43, the historic low number of single-family homes available. And fifth, 6.33, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate. The Guilford Shoreline remains one of the most desirable, high-demand markets in Connecticut. If you want to know what your specific home is worth in today's market, or if you're ready to start your home search, my contact info is in the description below. I would love a chance to help you navigate through this market, and hopefully we can come up with a plan to make it your dreams and your dream home come true. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video. Leave me a comment. What are you seeing in the market where you are? I love to go back and forth and see what things are happening in other areas. So until next month's update, have a good one.